We need some music in here. Boss Lady News is taking over SparkFM for the evening.
Ooh, breaking news.
Find some music. I don't care what it is. We gonna figure it out. Tell me when to walk in, Mel.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Boss Lady News. I appreciate you guys. You know you can always contact me, bossladynews@gmail.com. You can also reach out to my production staff now, just in case you haven't heard from me. You can email productionstaff@bossladynews.com. Every Friday at 6 p.m., you know you can catch me on Comcast Channel 23, Verizon Channel 1960, and RCN Channel 83. As we normally do, we're going to get into some trending topics with Cuba Mic. So let's bring him on out here. Hey!
Oh, Lord, Lord.
What's up?
Yeah, we just hanging out here in the station here, Spark, and holding them hostage for a few.
We are holding down Spark. I'm spinning.
Yeah. Oh, I missed you.
Missed you too.
How's that treating you?
It's really, really good. Things are different.
Something in the real estate.
Yes.
Keeping it real in the state.
I'm keeping it real in these states.
Yeah, I see.
You know, both in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island these days. You know, it is what it is.
Well, let's get straight to the point, because something happened.
What's going on?
Something happened on Sunday. That thing called the Oscars. And it was a slap heard around the world.
Right. Hashtag Oscars slap.
Yeah, the slap. So, of course... So yes, as everybody knows, the Oscars happened on Sunday.
Yes.
And Chris Rock was the presenter at the Oscars, and he was presenting an award, and prior to that, he made a joke prior to Will Smith's wife,
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Made a joke regarding the movie Jane 2. Everybody was laughing, except for Jada. Jada gave Will this look.
Even Will Smith was laughing. Let's just be honest about it.
Jada gave Will a certain look, and then he got off on stage and smacked the earth, wind, and fire of Chris Rock.
Yes, he did.
The funny thing about it, I was on vacation, so I didn't know what happened. So when I touched down from vacation, like, you know, my group feeds, like, you know, just stormed up, and they talked about what happened. At first, everybody thought it was a skit. It was part of the thing.
Right.
But
they thought it was fake.
Yeah. So the thing that happened is, like, since they had a delay thing, like, I guess it would cut. They cut. I don't know if it went to a commercial or whatever the case means, but overseas they showed the whole uncensored version, so that's when we got the cussing and all that other stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we'll snap, but
there's a lot of different.
There's been a lot of different dynamics
around the situation.
A lot of different opinions. You know, some people saying, yeah, you don't cross a man's family. Some people say he was way out of line. I'm going to the department saying that he was way out of line. That's
we feel at odds about that then.
Yeah, we about to talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about this. And I've been waiting for this opportunity to talk about this.
Ladies first, go ahead. Ladies first.
All right. First of all, we all know, and if you don't know, Chris Rock actually did a movie, right? Documentary basically, in reference to women of color and the trials and tribulations that we go through, right? Whether you have very coarse hair or if you have a curly pattern, the trials and tribulations, and it's called Good Hair. If you guys haven't seen it, please go check it out. Chris Rock has a daughter also, if not two. I forget how many children. So he understands the plight that a black woman has, or any woman of color that has to deal with their hair, right? So, did he know that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia? Who knows? The facts, we do not know 100%. We do know that Jada, on her show, The Red Table, did let people know that she had alopecia. However, a comic's job, right, is to bring light to real life situations. Whether a comic has had cancer, if a comic has had a family member die, if a comic has gone to jail, if a comic has lost their job and they're broke and homeless out on the street, they bring light and comedy to the situations to make people smile and understand that they're not in it alone. I can honestly say that this situation has brought a lot of awareness to alopecia as well. But on the flip side, every woman that got bald head right now, as a style of personal preference, does not have alopecia. So I don't think he intentionally tried to cross the line. I think he was a comic being a comedian.
Fair enough, fair adjustment. Here's the thing. First and foremost, like you say, he's a comedian. So his first thing to do about jokes is make jokes that the things are like. Now you gotta go back 5 or 6 years. He joked on the Smiths when they boycotted the Oscars and it was so white because Will didn't get nominated for concussion. So he made a joke saying, hey, you wouldn't even, like, long story short, the purpose of the joke, he was like, you weren't even invited to begin with, so why you boycotted something that you weren't even a part of? Mm-hmm. So I'll bring it on full circle. Will Smith, you know, he supposed to represent black excellence. And yes, I get the fact that he's supposed to represent black excellence, and he has his reputation that, you know, good guy, I don't cuss in my records, I'm supposed to be, you know, represent, like, you know, the temperament of the guy. Infamous entanglement. And everybody been throwing shots at him.
The infamous entanglement.
Yeah, everybody been throwing shots at him. From, you know, prior to that, there was a joke that Regina Hall did. Prior to that, a month before that, LeBron Cox made a joke about the situation. So he's been going through it. Unfortunately, that's part of the game.
Right.
That's part of your, and you know, I can understand if his wife was, you know, just a regular person that was in the industry and the guy made a joke about it and hey, that's my name, but this is not a regular person. This is Jada Pinkett Smith. And I'm sorry, she's been disrespecting this man since forever. The entanglement thing, messing around with his son's friend, Tupac, you know, the list been going on and on and on. So it feels like every moment she's been emasculating this man. So it was like he had this like I wish I would moment. So like the next person who says something, I'm bugging off.
But he didn't. His initial reaction was not, yo, that ain't even funny. His initial reaction was,
yeah, and then give him a look and then slap him. But either or, you can't move like that. Cause mind you, you're 50 years old. I could get it if you're 20 plus years old, and I even get the point that, you know, coming from a person who's been in a relationship, you got to protect your woman at all costs. But you got to, even once in a while, you got to choose violence, but you got to move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? This is an offer. This is not a source of war. This is not a situation that you could just act ratchet.
do you think if Regina or any other comedian had said that, Will would have got up and smacked them?
We don't know. That's the thing. But here's the thing. If a woman said it, why didn't Jada check them? If it was a woman that said something like that. Because Regina said something a little slick, and, you know, they let that brush off. So you also represent a certain stature, and you have to remember, 6 years ago, y'all were complaining about how the art's so white, we want to see the table, we want to present it, and I think this year was probably like the blackest as the Oscar could have gotten. You know what I'm saying? Between the nomination.
Only for Will Smith to turn around and smack it in the face.
Yes. So you got to remember, Will Packer was executive producer of the show. You had all these performers. Will Smith messed up his own moment because Will Smith is the first rapper turned actor to win an Oscar. It wasn't like he won an Oscar for like a rap song or anything like that. He's one of those rappers that took the actor and made it to a certain plateau to get that sort of achievement, and all that got overshadowed over what he did.
Over what he did. So he wasn't thinking. I'm not trying to cut you off.
We're gonna go on part two.
We're gonna go into this some more, and we're gonna cut to a brief break. We're gonna bring out our next guest. You guys have seen her before, and she is just, I mean, like a freight train through business, through marketing, and she's here to bring us some tips and tricks on how to make our businesses even better. And she even has some financial tips and tricks and things to look into, and that's Brent Harding. You guys don't go anywhere. You're watching Boss Lady News. Hey guys, thank you for staying tuned to Boss Lady News. And with no further ado, like I said, you guys have seen her before, and she's here again. We're gonna have Brent Harding come back on. Yay!
Oh my goodness, it has been a while.
I know. I'm excited
Oh, same
because
here.
you know I know that you're always doing.
Yes.
You're always. I know it's so.
No worries.
You're always doing. You're always moving. You're always grooving. And I like to make sure that I'm aware of what you're doing also.
Thank you.
Because should we go lower? Do you want to go lower? Okay.
No worries.
High.
There we go.
There we go.
Let's go.
know Miss Harding, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Oh my goodness, already. Oh, my background has been diverse, but what I'd like to be able to believe that I'm doing is working with our community. I am really focused in, driven, if you will, on helping us create lifestyles that enhance our lifestyles and legacy generation. So I've been a mortgage broker, a mortgage banker, I have been a real estate consultant, and now, one of the things that happened with the pandemic is that it really caused people to slow down, and as a result of slowing down, actually gave me an opportunity to speed up and figure out what I pray for at the final reiteration of Brent Harding.
Right.
And so now I'm in the digital asset and blockchain space. So people will say, well, what does that mean? Have you heard of cryptocurrency? Have you heard of Bitcoin? Have you heard of any of these? That's the direction that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And it has been extraordinary. Educating our community, working with individuals, the general public, helping them to understand how we can create levels of wealth. And not only for ourselves presently, but for the next generation.
Right. And us being a part of this technology wave that's just, that people need to know about. You need to be present. You need to be in the understanding of what changes are happening with our currency and understanding blockchain.
And one of the interesting things is we need to understand it because it's happening and it's not going away.
Right.
And the days, it's going to come a time when that dollar bill, that paper money, is not going to exist.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that amazingly enough, it's going to happen. Coming, whether we're kicking and screaming or not, there's going to come a time when you say you want to hand somebody a dollar bill, you want to hand somebody some currency, that's what you're going to hear that term more often, and they're going to say, you don't use it.
Right.
Everything is going to be on your phone, which is one of those nerve-wracking things for me, and we're going to have to pay attention because there are ways that we have to understand how to handle our business.
Right.
But it's exciting, every 100 years, things change. Monetary systems change. And so guess what, guys? We are in that space. In those years, it is changing. Even our federal government is metamorphosing.
Accepting it.
Yes.
It's interesting. I was at the airport and I was watching the news on the airport TV.
Yes.
And they were saying how some of the states are going to allow people to pay their taxes using cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely.
So, if you guys think that it's in some way, shape, or form not going to affect you, it is.
And what I try to share with people is there are some really phenomenal and great things about it. So for example, if you're traveling, there is no more having to change over your money. You leave one country. How much we go on a trip, we come back, we have a little bit of money that we left that we didn't get that we changed over, didn't exchange. Now, if they accept this here, guess what? You continue on your commerce.
Right.
So it's really exciting time, at least for me, and many of the individuals that I'm talking to and working with.
And it's interesting that you would even say that because I was connecting with the newest bank that I'm working with,
Okay.
and they wanted to see if I was interested in any of their merchant services. And I said my only interest in their merchant service is if they can allow me to accept Bitcoin. Because there are websites that are accepting Bitcoin, they're accepting Ethereum, and I can't accept those forms of payments right now because things need to be converted and transferred over.
Absolutely.
And if you want to advertise on Boss Lady News, I'm going to need you to be showing up with some Bitcoin pretty soon.
Absolutely, for a certainty. And if you're not, I would welcome working with you. I really would. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I can be accessible. I'm gonna give you the phone number and I'm gonna give you the email address. And so the phone number is 617-438-7949. Text me. I actually do respond. I like text messages. I'm one of those people. I respond in 2 minutes to a text message. Or you can send me an email at breharding2021@gmail.com. That's breharding2021@gmail.com. When I say that I would love to work with you, I'm serious about that. We can make things happen. You know what? This is a great time.
It is. And so we know you of being that marketing person and how to network, right?
Yes.
And how to bring your business to someone else's business so that you can utilize each other's services.
Yes.
How did you rotate into or begin networking with cryptocurrency?
Well, it started with the person that I talked to about it. I was like, I'm not doing that. I think that that's the most ridiculous thing since ever. And as a result of that, I just kind of put some feelers out. Have you heard of it? Do you use it? Would you consider it? And much to my surprise, I found out, oh, I'm the one that's behind the schedule on this. Catch up, girl, catch up.
Right.
And that's how, and now it's something that either people are curious about, or they're saying, well, what can I do? How can I get started? And it was really in that space. So it's so simple to have those conversations to say, as simple as, are you doing anything with cryptocurrency? Are you doing anything with Bitcoin? What are you doing?
Right.
And then engage in those conversations.
Right. We're going to go to a brief break.
Okay.
Brent is not going anywhere. If you guys ever have any questions or anything like that, feel free to email me. Again, you can reach out to my production staff now. We've got our own email. It's productionstaff@bossLadyNews.com. If you guys have questions about crypto and how, Brent might have even gotten herself into it, how can they reach you?
The easiest way, I'm a text message away, 617-438-7949. And right now, the email is going to be brehard, BREHARDING, 2021@gmail.com. That's soon to change, but right now that's the one. So reach out to me. I'd love to engage you.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. She's not going anywhere, but we are going to take a brief break, all right? We'll be right back. You're watching Boss Lady News. You
All
look
right.
like you're getting a little exhausted, camera guys. So
I know.
Hey guys, it's Boss Lady Britt Johnson, and shout out to the whole SparkFM family for letting us take over the studio tonight. We are doing an episode. I'm so excited. We have another guest for you. So we're just gonna really quickly go and say hi to our other guest. Omama is in the building. I am so excited. You guys don't go anywhere. We are coming back on with Brent, and then we're gonna get a chance to talk with Omama and find out more about what she's doing and why you guys see her everywhere in the community. All right? Thank you guys for staying tuned to Boss Lady News. We are here with the Miss Brent Harding. I'm so excited that we're back to talking about networking our businesses, understanding how to collaborate, and different types of currencies that we need to be aware of and how to really kind of get involved in that. So, without giving them too much, right? Again, for a lot of people, they might be wondering, what made you comfortable with transitioning from just networking and using the type of currencies? People can pay with credit card, they can pay with PayPal. Now, really, networking with individuals that are into that cryptocurrency world. What made you comfortable with that?
I'll tell you what, it wasn't comfortable from the start, and it probably got comfortable after about 2 years. So when I initially started, it was following other individuals, and there wasn't any sense of comfort. Finally, when I said, you know what, I've got to educate myself. I cannot depend on all these other individuals to teach me what I need to know. Once I did that, and I started connecting with other individuals, that's what made the difference, is that it was getting some training, getting some education, getting pointed in the right direction, and relying on myself, relying on my own instincts,
Right.
was what made that happen. And then starting to connect, like you said, networking, connect with other people, because one of the things that I'm real clear about, I'm not going to know everything.
Right.
Somebody else is an expert in this, an expert in that, an expert in that. And that's where the networking comes in, because we're collaborating, not reinventing the wheel. In fact, I talked to a gentleman today that I'll be connecting with next week, and he said, you know, I learned so much from you, and I said, you have no idea how much I learned from you. And then I said, okay, you've got this, and this. I've got this, and this. Well, let's bring those together, not reinvent the wheel. And that's what I like to say. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the interesting thing is, he's bringing millennial experts.
Nice.
So that is, he said, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. I went, yes, that is perfect. And then I'm bringing these to the table. And so it's really, we're really fortunate in an alliance that is just striking.
Right.
And we're touching everybody. I remember one of our business partners, an issue happened with her, and she said, you know what I love about working with people and working with the whole Love Warriors and the document? And she said, you all don't need to leave behind. No, we're not going to. You might need to come over here.
Right.
She said, but we're not leaving anyone behind, ironically enough. She just happens to be the youngest one, the youngest millennial. And it's like, come here and listen to us. Believe it or not, we've got some sense there too.
Right.
You know, so it's a great fortune.
And we were talking earlier, and something you mentioned was how, oh gosh, now his name, Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Warren Buffett had, what did he say?
He said that cryptocurrencies was like rat poison.
Cryptocurrency was like rat poison. And then you found out that
His company, Berkshire Hathaway, has invested $500 million in what you refer to as rat poison. And so what it makes me say is, yeah, hear what they say. However, watch what they do.
Right.
Because a whole different ballgame. And so we need to be cognizant of that, because in some respects, you know, we're behind the times. Some other countries are already ahead of us.
Right.
That we're kind of playing catch up. And the interesting thing is, so much of the general public is cognizant. And so they may be making moves on small, but they're making moves.
Right.
And that's it's kind of shocking. Several industries, from the banking industry to Wall Street, they are stunned by what people are doing.
Right.
And what they know, what they're learning, what they know, you know?
And it's, again, you know, you can go to certain websites and you've got Visa, you've got MasterCard, you've got Discover, you've got PayPal, you've got Bitcoin, you've got Ethereum. So these cryptocurrencies are being utilized, and understanding like which ones to get involved in and how to really, for lack of better words, manipulate the exchanging of currencies so that you can make money.
You know, that is very, very true. But you brought up one thing that I thought about, and that was it about a month ago, when the first house that was sold using cryptocurrency.
I heard about that.
And they did an NFT with it, a non-fungible token.
Yes.
That was wild. That was like the industry. Real estate just went, whoa, what happened here?
Yes. So a young lady out there, or a woman out there, she decided to purchase a piece of property, right? And then she registered that property as an NFT. And as you guys may or may not know, but you need to start learning, is NFTs are only purchasable through Ethereum. And if you were to look up the price of Ethereum, that's some homework for you. You can only purchase an NFT with Ethereum. So she said, if you purchase this NFT, it is attached to a piece of property. And therefore, if you own the NFT, you own the property as well. It was purchased, the property was purchased through NFT, through Ethereum cryptocurrency. Wow.
And guess what? It started all over.
Right.
Now everything really made such a significant much that you could get. And so people weren't buying the ticket to have the ticket to the Super Bowl. They wanted the NFT.
Right.
And it was crazy.
Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz, they did, I think it was a fundraiser, it was a marketing piece where they only had 500, bought it with cryptocurrency. It's like, they only had 500, and people wanted that.
If y'all didn't hear, she said they raised over $1 million, okay? And the beauty of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, is there's a limited amount. So it's a limited edition. And that way, people can't really replicate what it is that they're purchasing. That's the whole point of it. It's registered, it's a platform for you to be able to register something.
And because it has such a short amount, it raises the value. So if it only has 100 pieces, and once it's had 100 pieces, it's gone. That's it, it's done. The value goes up. So we are getting into an incredible space from cryptocurrencies to NFTs to the metaverse. All these things are happening and they're happening in real time.
Right.
We've been talking about that a lot.
I can't wait to actually get into the metaverse. And actually, my timer lady back there sent me an article where people are considering extending their lifespan so that they can live in the NFT or the metaverse.
It is wild.
Wow. I mean,
is
it's like, wow.
You're sitting up here and you're saying, what? And people actually want to be there. It is going to be an extraordinary period of time. And I'm just saying, come enjoy the ride. Come and join in. Get in. Right now is really early for things. Even the NFTs in the metaverse is really early. Cryptocurrency now is really getting its stride. It's been in existence, but now that it's being accepted. I actually know somebody that bought an RV with cryptocurrency.
Really?
And you're saying, are you kidding me? Using our cards and being able to purchase and do that and never having to hold that cash. It's like I said, every 100 years you see a metamorphosis. This is our time.
Well, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you would like to advertise on Boss Lady News, feel free to make your pitch using Ethereum, preferably, or Bitcoin.
Take either one. Take either one.
Take either one. And then, we'll talk about the other forms of currency, such as, card, PayPal, or cash.
They're still good, but, the priority now is this one. Yes.
Right.
Very, very definitely. I am so ready to help people to, like I said, I am driven to help people transform their lifestyles and leave for the next generation. Because we said, yeah, but let's train our children so that they have an opportunity to enjoy the lifestyle. Not be so tied to the job. Not there's nothing wrong with working, but if you can create some other spaces for the revenue so that you can live the lifestyle you want to, then why not make that happen?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this. And for you guys, please feel free to reach out to us one more time. And I got one more question for you.
Go for it.
All right. Do you see, because I've heard from other people in other platforms, do you see cryptocurrency going away?
No, absolutely not. And what are the indicators? There's so many companies right now that are actually purchasing. Again, you have Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, you have Mass Mutual, you have other entities. You've got Coinbase. Coinbase is on the stock exchange. So no. Yeah, Coinbase is on the stock exchange. Absolutely. So it's definitely not going anywhere. The interesting thing about cryptocurrencies is it was actually created, it's called the people's currency.
Okay.
And it was especially designed for other countries. That's why I said really third world countries where you couldn't get loans or you couldn't get bank accounts or something of that nature. So it really served its purpose there. And it's grown from there. It started about 2008 and really started having some traction in 2014. It's come to a significant life in 2017, and now it is fastly becoming table topic.
Wow. Yeah. So you guys, multiple generations, cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. Gold is no longer backing your dollar. So understand how and why cryptocurrency is so important and what it can do for you and your family. Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
So
We're going to have you back on.
You better.
There are a plethora of businesses that are using cryptocurrency. You want to be able to be a part of that conversation so you can network with those businesses as well.
Absolutely. There'll come a time where guess what? They're going to say to you, do you have cryptocurrency? Not do you have fiat, and by the way, that the word fiat, cash paper, they're going to say, do you have cryptocurrency? That's how we run our money.
Right.
Absolutely.
Time to come.
Hello.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We've got more conversations. I'm so excited. We're going to have Omama Marzuk. And I know you guys are familiar with her name, you're familiar with her face, and now we're going to get more familiar with her. All right, don't go anywhere. You're watching Boss Lady News. We're staying tuned to Boss Lady News. I'm so glad you didn't go anywhere. You know you can catch me every Friday at 6 p.m. on Comcast Channel 23, RCN Channel 83, and Verizon Channel 1960. If you believe I haven't had a chance to interview you or you would love to be interviewed again, please feel free to reach out to my production staff. You can contact by emailing them, productionstaff@gmail.com. Now, I'm so excited because Omama Marzuk is finally sitting down with me and we're going to get a chance to talk. So let's bring her on in. How are you?
Doing awesome. How are you?
I'm great. So, first and foremost, I always ask people, are you originally from like the Boston area?
I am not.
Where are you?
I'm from Plymouth.
Well, that's not too far. That's okay. It's an hour. Okay.
But I do most of my work and everything really is up in Boston. So,
Yeah.
Boston's.
What brought you to Boston?
The real answer or
Yeah.
okay, the diversity.
Really?
Yeah, Plymouth is diverse.
Okay.
I like languages. I like flavor. I like different kinds of things, and so being able to sit down with people and meet different kinds of people. Where Plymouth is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Great
Yeah.
tourist, beautiful area, but you're not seeing different kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
You're just seeing people that are either coming there for touristing or whatever it is. So yeah.
Yeah. So what was your passion as you were younger growing up? What did you see yourself, maybe wanting to do in high school or throughout high school, kind of, transitioning into your next stages of education?
Yeah. So I wanted to do a few things. I wanted to be like the Harriet Tubman for the Palestinian people, and I wanted to be like Captain Planet. I wanted to save the world.
Okay.
So not Harriet Tubman or Captain Planet are in the forefront of what I'm currently doing, but I know I wanted to make a difference, right? And so when I kind of take and not trying to disrespect Harriet Tubman in any shape or way or form, but when I look at what I'm doing, right, it's getting people out of the mindset of like, being kind of like enslaved with their financial mindset and just making sure that they're being free with financial literacy.
Right.
And then just making sure that I'm just environmentally cautious. Everything I try to do, I'm not 100% environmentally cautious, right? But just trying to be as environmentally cautious as possible.
Right. When you say, being I'm going to say the spearhead to help level up the Palestinian people, right? Why did you feel that there was a need for that?
Well, there's turmoil, there's war that's going on there. I don't know a lot of Palestinians actually in the States, but I just felt like, making sure that where we have our land, we're able to do what we want to do in the sense of freedom. But then kind of like shifting it towards here, like in 2022 that we live in, it's like, how do you get people into the sense of freedom of what they want to do? And a freedom of thinking and expression and whatever it is.
And getting past that fear.
Correct.
Right? Because continuously as I talk to people, it's really fear that holds people back and the lack of knowledge. And when you've got fear and a lack of knowledge, you have a people that are stunted and don't know where to go and don't know what to do. And that's when it's easy to be able to control their situation on a governmental level, because they take whatever they understand to receive, and they can only receive as much as the government allows you to take.
Right. And I mean, so Florida just passed law that financial literacy is going to be in high schools, right? Which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
You don't usually hear a lot of good news about Florida, but that is definitely good news about Florida. So it's amazing to hear that, and I'm excited to see what other states are going to follow suit, because once you start getting education about financial literacy, and let's be honest, like financial literacy is pretty close to like breathing, right? And it's like, if you don't have your money right, then you don't necessarily have your life right. And so if you can understand at a young age, how do you just basic stuff, right? How do you manage your money? How does the money world work? Then you can kind of conquer the world. And do what a lot of these amazing successful businesses and corporations that we invest in, buy in, do business with, that are doing, because they've understood the money world.
Right. And historically, there was a space in math class where you would be learning money, right? We learned about pennies and what pennies are worth. We learned about nickels and dimes and quarters and dollars. And somewhere along the line, the school systems decided to take that out of the educational system. And we don't know why, but then we also started to see this low-income community and what was a middle-income community really starting to kind of take off.
Yeah, and when you have the space to learn, right? Just let's take for example like STEM, right? And how so many people have been diving into STEM, and it's because it's been put into the school system so much, right? And so now there's a push for it. So whenever I feel like, I don't know how schools work and whatever it is, but I feel like whenever there's something that's being pushed upon, then more things will happen.
Right. Do you think that now that schools and school systems are starting to realize, financial education is the beginning to their students being successful? And just to kind of backtrack, I feel like the reason schools are starting to put financial education into their curriculum again is because they need more opportunity to say that our school is great. We have produced these amazing students that have come out to be these amazing people. And with that being the case, why aren't we giving them financial literacy and financial education so that our school is the better school?
Yeah, I can definitely see where that comes from. But also, Florida and California are the top two states where retirement is, right? So where the most elderly is. And we're just seeing right now with COVID in place, like this great resignation that all these people are resigning from their jobs. So it makes sense for, it's interesting that Florida was the state to spearhead it, but it makes sense to start putting financial literacy into the school systems, because I think schools are starting to realize that we are no longer in this 9-to-5 era. Right? People are creating things, they're designing their own jobs. You ask somebody now, what's the number one thing that you're looking for in a job? And they're like, flexibility.
Right.
And so it's like, you want that.
I don't want to work for anybody anymore.
Exactly. So they want that, and so it's like, it makes 100% sense to be like, no, let's put this in our school system, because they know, like, just in the last 2 years of the dynamics of how things have shifted, that people aren't going to go into work and do a 9-to-5. People, like, the great thing about COVID, right? Let's talk about the positive things that have come out of it. There's 5.5 million new businesses that came out of COVID.
I mean,
How amazing
is
is
an
that?
opportunity to applaud, and a lot of those businesses being people of color and different nationalities. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense to do financial literacy. Everyone should be an entrepreneur. A great book that everyone should read is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Cash flow quadrant. Okay.
So it tells you like the different dynamics of where your money's going. But if you understand money and how money is working, you'll rule the world.
Right.
You'll rule the world.
I'm so excited to really get an opportunity to have this conversation with you, because, I didn't really actually think we were going to have a realty time segment. But one thing you mentioned is, wanting to make sure that the Palestinian people understand financial education and understand ownership. And how powerful that is, and what you can do as an owner. So, a lot of people don't think towards those kind of categories when it's like, I want, my people to do better, right? They don't think into ownership, but I really like how you did mention that.
Yeah, and I mean, I mostly cater to like the brown and black community immigrants, right? I wasn't born in this country, so immigrants, I'm just kind of like, if you're speaking another language, if you look different, come talk to me. And ownership, right? And there's so many different levels of ownership, but once you understand, like, I talked about ownership because I want our land back in Palestine, right? And so I've never been to Palestine, but that's what runs through my veins. And it's a matter of like, if I can make sure that my finances are good, that people I'm talking to, their finances are good, and everything else is good, then it's like, well, I know the rules and regulations with the money, that I can then be an asset to my people. Right? You can't be an asset to your people if you don't have necessarily the funds to do so.
Right.
We all need the grassroots. We all need people to, fight the good fight. But money is what's making the world go around. And
That's
so
the truth.
if you can't be a part of it, then good luck.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
But we're gonna cut to a break. Mama's not going anywhere. We've got some more conversations. I love the way this is going already. And I'm already like, we're gonna have to have you back for Boss Lady News. But you guys don't go anywhere. You're with Boss Lady News, and we're talking with Omama Marzuk. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Thank you for staying tuned to Boss Lady News. I'm excited that you guys are here with us. We are talking with Omama Marzuk and Marzuk. I'm saying it backwards. Marzuk. And I'm excited because, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I didn't really expect to have a realty time segment. You guys know we get a chance to talk about real estate and how to kind of maneuver into home ownership, and we just kind of jumped right into that. And I think it's influential.
Sorry.
I think it's influential for all people to understand that there's an opportunity for you to be a homeowner, no matter where you're from. If you are here and you're making income, you want to be able to understand how to save, how to budget, and how to move into a space of homeownership. So, I think it's important that people of color and immigrants understand that they can own here, but you can also own abroad. I don't know if that's ever a conversation that you get into with people.
People ask me all the time, and I'm like, listen, I only just do business with the United States.
Yeah.
But home ownership, it's. I mean, everyone wants to own a home, right? And it's like, oh, like, I want to own a home. I want to own a home. And you mentioned something that's so critical: budget, right? And if you don't have a good sense of your finances, right? Like, okay, cool, you own a home, and then what's going to happen? Just like the same thing in 2008, people are overbuying what they're not qualified for, and then you're going to go into foreclosure, or you might lose your home, and then it's like, why? Why not, like, wait, right? And I tell people, not everyone is going to own a home,
Right.
because let's be honest, if every single person in the world owned a home, no one would be renting, and we would not have landlords. Right? And so it's like,
It's a business.
it's a business, right? And so making sure that you're in place for that. And like, I love sitting down with first time homeowners, because their mind is excited. They're like, I need to save. And it's like, great, go talk to a mortgage broker, go see what you're eligible for. And they're like, wait a second, I talked to a real estate agent. And I'm like, that's phenomenal, but you still need to see what you're eligible for, right? And then they, like, a lot of people were like, well, why do I need to talk to a financial advisor then? I was like, because we're going to help you make sure your money's right. And I said, with mortgage brokers and lenders, I was like, they're great, but the thing about it is they're not looking at all your goals. They're just looking at one dynamic. So they might give you a suggestion of, like, regarding your finances, but I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, that doesn't fully make sense. Right? So it's a matter of having a conversation with, like, literally, like, all three of the parties to know, what am I eligible for to purchase a house, right? Am I moving into Boston? Am I moving outside of Boston? Like, what am I doing, right? And if you can get a good sense on your budget, right, and know how that budget is working, you're gonna be good, right? That way you're not stressing out and being like, oh my goodness, like, the mortgage, the utilities, like, toilet, all this different stuff. Like, make sure that your money's working for you, and make sure your home is working for you.
Right. And I think, I love that you just said that. Make sure your home is working for you. Because looking at all of the goals, like you said, right? Is there a child that's going into college? Do you have a child that's on the way? Really understanding, what are all of your goals, and budgeting is the key to that. Most people don't realize how much they're spending on themselves and their luxuries and their little, going out to eat, or, maybe got a shopping habit, different vices that they have, and they could really be saving on that end, but they don't. But if they hear it from somebody, then many times they're like, you know what, I really didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and you're right, and it's a matter of who they hear it from, right? Because, I mean, it all depends on your circle of friends and what you guys do and what kind of money you're spending and all this and that. But if you put it in your mind, okay, I want to purchase a home in 2 years, for example. I'm going to sit down with a financial advisor first to see what are the different steps that I need to do. The mortgage broker already told me, like, what I'm eligible for. And then it's like, make sure that you're budgeting. And whenever any of my clients are like, hey, I'm not going to put any money down. And I'm like, cool, are you going to buy furniture? Well,
Right.
yeah.
Do you need a moving company?
Yeah, do you need a moving? Are you going to paint the walls? Like, I'm sure there's going to be some renovations, right? So whenever someone's like, I'm putting no money down, I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Right? You still need to budget. And because of 2008, when all the mortgages and everything, like, happened and stuff, now mortgage companies are more stricter on people to say, like, if you don't have this in your bank account, if you aren't working for this long, if you don't have this and that, good luck buying a home. Right? And then I'm sure you run into this all the time. Well, I'm gonna buy a multifamily. Great. Have you budgeted?
Right.
That's what it is.
And not understanding that owning a multifamily is a great investment opportunity.
Yes.
If you have set your budget up accordingly.
Yes.
Right? I also encourage a lot of the young people, get into a condo.
Yep.
It's a great way to start. You're not worried about your rent right to raise your rent every year. They really do. And understanding that sometimes, for ownership and being able to have your family maybe come from another country or from another state to come and visit to your place is a whole different way of living. It's really a different way of living. Don't only look at the 3-family as an option, because it is an option, but you have to remember, if you're ever not paying rent, right, from one of those units, can you cover that mortgage?
Right.
Do you have reserves that allow you to still pay your own bills and take care of maybe something breaking inside of the property, right? And budgeting is the key. Understanding how to keep your credit on point and really talking with people about your finances and not being afraid to talk to people about finances, because it's a really personal thing.
Oh yeah, it's very personal. I mean, I know when I met with my first financial advisor, so I was 19, and he's looking at my expenses, he's looking at stuff, he's looking at my goals, and I remember him asking me, he was like, when do you want to retire? And I was like, what? I was like, we don't retire. I was like, we work until we die, right? Because that's how and he was like, no, we're changing this language. And it was the first time that, we kind of talked about money when we were kids. It's just a matter of kind of like, hey, we either have this or don't. Like, don't buy anything you can't afford, right? Mm-hmm. So that was what was drilled into my head. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 28 years old. Because my dad was always like, if you don't have the money to do so, you can't do it. So having that conversation with finances and having someone take a look at you and say, like, this is what you need to do and this is what you can't do in order to fulfill your financial goals is really important.
Yeah. And again, don't be afraid to be willing to open up, because they're there to help you. They're there to make sure that you succeed. They're there to make sure that you can tackle your goals. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad you came.
Oh, well, thank you. This was awesome. This was great. I appreciate you inviting me onto the show, and you're always just great energy and stuff. So I appreciate it. And it's just like, it's good. It's good to. I promise you didn't tell me to talk about whatever it is, right?
But we're live, you guys.
But the fact that it's like, talking about the budgeting, the homework, and it's so true. It's so spot on.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are going to cut to a brief break. I want to make sure Omama comes back. And I know you guys are definitely going to be seeing her in more events. I mean, I catch her everywhere sometimes. And sometimes she's at events that I haven't even attended. So, I know that this woman right here is very influential and has a lot of amazing information to share with the entire community. So we're going to have her back on. But you guys don't go anywhere, because Cuba Mic's coming back out. I don't know if we're still going to be talking about the Oscar slap, but we got some more trending topics for you. So don't go anywhere, all right? You're watching Boss Lady News. Hey guys, thank you for staying tuned to Boss Lady News. We were able to get Omama in on this last trending topic, and we've got Cuba Mic to bring it back.
Yes, it's going to be continued for the last of the Oscars. I just got breaking news as I was hanging out in the background. And Will Smith's in a lot of trouble.
Uh-oh.
The Oscar just made a statement, and they said that behind the scenes they were that the scoring line of the ceremony being recorded. They were like, I'm not leaving. So they kept him around. So now they're saying they're going to take disciplinary action, whether Pence he could be suspended from the award committee. The Oscar award could be stripped from him, or he could just be banned from the Oscars and then he got to April 18th. Figure out what they're going to do.
So I'm not going to make...
Reaction got
But I
reaction.
am going to make light of this. Okay.
Yo, let's go. We out here for that,
So
bitch.
if it was Tupac, we all know
He was shot.
he would have shot her.
He would've shot her.
We're not going to go there. But I feel as if Will felt like he had to take this extreme masculine role and do something that was outside of his character. And now And, you know.
Shout out to Chris, man, for being holding so much restraint because he got the Jesus snapped out of him and he kept his composure.
That's true.
And he was a bigger man and walked away. And he's in town tonight.
And he's in Boston.
He's in town tonight.
He's touring with us.
And he done sold out every show event that he had here. We was only here for 2 days, and now he's here for like 5 days. He's doing every show, whatever the case may be. So salute to him.
Yeah.
He kept his composure. He was a bigger man. He walked away from the situation, and he just kept it moving.
Right.
He kept it moving for the most part.
So I did not watch the Oscars. I watched a news clip of what happened, and listen, I don't know the full context. So I saw what I saw. I don't know what's going on inside his head. Am I saying what he did was right? No. Like no one should be slapped around. However, respect for sticking up to his wife. Right? Again, respect to Chris for keeping his composure. Could have been handled in a different way? Absolutely. You're a grown man. You're like, I don't even know how old he is.
50. He's 50.
You're grown.
50.
It's not like you're and that was an act of like a childish move. Like nobody. Yeah. So I don't know the whole context of it. I mean, I saw the news clips because it was what was being talked about. I don't have a place to say anything. I'm not friends with Will. I'm not friends with Chris. Like,
But you know, Will, Chris, y'all can feel free to reach out to us at News anytime we have you on to discuss that.
I will say this, it's very interesting. Every time I see like a comment of it, it's very interesting how women choose violence when it comes to like protecting and protected. So every comment I see, like, yeah, that's what Will did. My man, if I get disrespected, that he better slap somebody in the face, or he better punch somebody in the face, or he keeping his stomach. And it's a pattern of people. There are people that are not married, or they're in a relationship and don't got a ring on their finger, or they're like a pattern. Like I've seen women that are married. And they say like, look, this is how you get your man killed. If you don't got, you put him in a steady, a steady situation because they're all for being protected. I had this conversation with my friend. We as men gotta move a certain way. This is not the 60s or 70s no more. People ask for a fair fight. You beat somebody down, that man feels disrespected. He gonna come back to you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Social media doesn't help, so now let's say we're in the hood, I beat this man up, and the whole hood see me put hands to this dude, he's gonna be the laughing stock in the hood. He's gonna come back to me because he felt I disrespected him, and it'll get even worse. I mean, if anybody's seen the movie Men's Society, we saw how that ending was. It was all over a girl who was disrespected, and she got the cousin after him. So, y'all gotta watch the way you want us to be protected, because, as a man, we know we gotta do as men, but we also gotta watch how we're gonna protect y'all, because we don't mind putting hands on feet because men there's consequences. And there's guys who feel disrespected, they'll get you. If they don't care that whole, no, I'll get you for no women and children behind. No, they'll get you. They don't care if it's your wife, your kids,
Especially
your mama.
These young people out there right now, they're a different breed.
I just read a story this weekend. This lady went to the grave to see her son that was murdered a year to his birthday. And these guys went, she got killed from the dude that he had beef with. Dude was like 19.
Like what?
Like these kids, these dudes here, they don't care. They will get you on site and they'll get whoever after you. So you gotta be very cautious the way you move.
And it's the support, right?
Yeah.
You have some people that might support one person more than the other, and the level of violence that can come out of something very simple comes from other people.
Yep. I mean, I asked my partner, I was like, what would you have done in this situation? He's like, I don't fight. And he's not a fighter. Sometimes I joke around, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm the man in the relationship, right? But he's not a fighter. And that's something that, like, but it's a matter of having a conversation. And so, keep in mind when you're saying, like, these different women that are saying, like, oh, you gotta stand up against violence. It's a matter of, like, well, what's going on in their lives? They feel like violence has to be the answer. Because, again, like, Chris Rock, Will Smith, they are both grown men. Rich grown men, right? But Chris Rock, like, kudos to him for the respect of just having the show go on, right? And just
Catching yourself.
Yeah. Because I'm sure if it was in a different situation, would have seen some hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
For sure. And, not for nothing, and I did see Danielle had posted a comment about, the Oscar slap and believing that it didn't set black people back. And I personally want to, I think it did, because we were protesting how the Oscars were so white, we're protesting how the Academy Awards were so white, and when change starts to happen, we as a people have to be very careful how we move, because the change that happens has to be from a progressive progressive lens of people that don't look like us, right? And then when something happens that allows that progressive eye to kind of sway back, or the pendulum goes back in the opposite direction, it takes a long time for that progressive eye to come back and be more supportive of us. So I do think that, the awards is going to question who they bring into the audience again. And if they have beef, right? They gotta send people out to check and see who's got beef with who, and who can't come to the awards together, and who can't speak on the other person. You know what I mean? It brings too much heat on.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with the sense of it kind of brought people back in a sense, but we don't personally know Will Smith, right? But we've known Will Smith's character and how he is for the longest time. This is so out of character for him.
Yeah.
So my question is I'm not a mental health counselor or whatever it is. What went on that really, really triggered it? I understand he's saying don't mess with my wife's Appalachian. Alopecia, right? Which I understand. But it's a matter of making sure that he just set himself back too.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a matter of you've worked so hard, and one small move can destroy your whole career. So I just pray for both of them, all three of them. Make sure that everybody is good. They get the right help, healing, all that good stuff that they need to make sure. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have, right? It doesn't matter your name, your position. If you screw up, you screw up.
That's right. And I just want to, before we go, because the show's over and we're kind of in the background continuing to talk, and I love it, and I love you guys for coming on, and I love you guys for supporting Boss Lady News. But one thing you mentioned that I think is so important and prominent in communities of color, especially in the Black community, is mental health. Okay, we really need to put down our guards with the right person and be willing to discuss the issues that are the root of some of our problems. And mental health awareness is so important because it's something that can be passed on generationally, and we don't realize that we're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for staying tuned to Boss Lady News. We're over. We'll see if the cable company will keep the show going for that extra time.
Oh,
But
one more thing. A quick shout out real quick. Shout out to the homie Ennis Cancer from the Boston Celtics. He shouted us out from the Cubans in Boston group. He showed up to us. He's in support and he's down with us to rep, Liberation Cuba. So shout out to E Freedom out there. Thank you.
Omama, how can they get in touch with you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name Omama Marzuk on LinkedIn. And then my phone number 774-313-0702. I'm probably the only Omama you're ever gonna meet, so I'm pretty easy to find. If you see someone else that looks like me, it's not me, but this is me. So connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll see you guys there. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, and thank you. But no further ado, we'll see you next time, all right?
Hey, no slap nobody.